Hello there, people of the internet. How's everybody doing today? Doing all right. I just had a little while ago, I had a pretty gnarly, good-sized bowl of ice cream, and now I'm going through the sugar crash that comes after that. So let's go ahead and make a gun video while I go ahead and deal with that. This right here is 22 long rifle, takedown rifle made by Henry. I've seen these before on numerous occasions, never really fiddled with them, never messed with them, never had any desire to get one until one day I was looking around and I was like, you know, I don't have much in terms of 22 long rifles. And what I have is I have like a Marlin that isn't actually mine. It's a semi-automatic tube fed. I wanted something magazine fed. I got my Sturmgewehr 44, but that's like freaking 9 pounds and it's made to look like a Sturmgewehr and it's not very accurate. It's more of like a gimmick than it is anything else. And I think that's all the 22 long rifles that I actually have. I got my MP40, but it's also very unreliable and also not very accurate and more of a gimmick than anything else and not really what I was looking for. So I was down at the gun store and I was just kind of browsing around. I wasn't really expecting to get anything. I was actually there for a different purpose besides guns. Go to the gun store for something besides guns. How do you like that? And I saw this over on the wall and I was like, hey, I've seen those before and I've been looking to get myself a 22 long rifle. And I picked it up and I looked at it and some old guy said to me, hey, those are actually really cool. You can take them down, they store in the stock, and you know, you should absolutely get it. And I was like, you know what? Sold. They're not very expensive, so let's go ahead and just take it home and I'll have myself a Henry manufactured 22 long rifle. In this particular case, it is their survival rifle model. Now this is a semi-automatic firearm. Hi YouTube, semi-automatic, not fully automatic, so it is in compliance with YouTube's guidelines. And it takes an 8-round magazine. I'm not sure if you can get bigger or smaller magazines than this right here, but this takes an 8-round magazine. Charging handle right here on the side actually pops out of the receiver so you can charge it a little bit easier. Safety back here on the back of the receiver, very, very simple. It says safe in that direction. You got safe and fire right there. It has a rear ghost ring for a rear sight. It has a rail, which I'm assuming is proprietary because it definitely does not appear to be the size of a standard Picatinny. And it has a front sight. In this particular case, it is a bright orange, which is actually really good for me because I can't see anything because I'm blind. And that bright orange, I can actually see that very decently. The magazine release is in the front of the trigger guard right here. You just press that forward, magazine releases. This particular one came with 2 magazines. Each of these magazines is 8 rounds, nothing real special about it. I have shot this thing. It seems reliable. It seems very comfortable. Normally with 22 long rifles, just the ones that I'm used to shooting, there's like no recoil whatsoever. It's just like a little pop and the gun doesn't move at all. But this thing is so extremely lightweight that I can actually feel a little bit of recoil behind it. 22 long rifle doesn't have a ton of recoil behind it, but I can actually feel it whenever I shoot it versus like the Woodstock Marlin that I have, or the MP40 or the STG 44, just the my much heavier 22 long rifles, I can't feel any recoil on them whatsoever. But this actually can, and it was a very interesting experience for me. So we'll break this thing down here in just a second. I actually zeroed this thing out at about 5 yards. The sights needed some playing around with. It shot not quite where I wanted it to shoot, not quite at point of aim. But now well, at least at 5 yards, I got it zeroed to the point to where I'm wanting it to hit where it's hitting. So now we're going to go ahead and we're at about 40 yards or so. I'm going to load up a mag and just send some rounds down range. And we're going to see if it's hitting where it is that I'm wanting it to hit. Charging handle right here on the side of the receiver pops out for ease of use. Pull that back, let it go forward, pop that charging handle back in. Safety off, finger off the trigger till you're ready to shoot. Now, whenever I was shooting this thing, trying to zero it, I actually have a very funny story. You know what, I'll tell the funny story after I pop off a couple of rounds here. I'm just gonna aim at my steel silhouette down there, and we'll see what happens. Well, I heard a clank, so that's a good sign. Okay, well, we're making hits on target. Excellent sign. Magazine is empty. But whenever I was trying to zero this thing in, I mean, it's just common sense, and I know this, but I just wasn't thinking about it at the time. I was trying to zero it in, and I was holding it like this. And sometimes it would hit right on target, you know, whenever I zeroed in. And sometimes it would hit like stupidly left or stupidly right. And I'm like, this gun's not inaccurate because the groups that I'm making on target are like bunched up. But they're just changing where it is that they're going to be hitting. And I discovered, oh, freaking dadoy, dude. I had my hand on the barrel, and it does not take a lot of force on a barrel to change your point of impact downrange. So whenever I try to zero it out, I would zero it out, hit right where I'm wanting to hit. I think I'd like change the angle of my hand on the grip or something, or I'd change the amount of pressure, or I'd lean up on something for like more precise shots, and it would change completely. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And it took me a little while to figure out it was because I was touching the freaking barrel. So now I just kind of grab back here on the receiver. There's no real good place to put your hand on this thing, like your support hand. So I just kind of hold the receiver and let the barrel completely free float. And that seems to really help with accuracy. Let's go ahead. I want to walk down there, see where these rounds are hitting, whether or not they're hitting a lot left or a lot right, see if I have to adjust this sight a little bit. After that, we're going to actually walk out there to 100 yards, and I want to put more rounds downrange and see where this is hitting exactly. So this girl here seems to be hitting pretty much exactly where it is that I'm wanting it to hit. So yeah, we're out here at the 100-yard mark, and I got my second magazine of 8 rounds. This is just like cheap bulk. I think this is MagTech ammunition. Blue container, comes in like a plastic jar. So yeah, not exactly match grade 22 long rifle, but we're gonna come out here, like I said, we're at 100 yards. Just because we were hitting center target at about 40 yards, now we're at 100. 22 long rifle's gonna drop a couple of inches. I'm actually gonna aim at the top of my target, and hopefully we will make hits on target. So 8 rounds, I gotta be careful not to touch the barrel on anything. But I am going to use my little piece of wood right here as a stabilizer. Let's go ahead. Oh, that's the magazine release, not the safety. I'm used to the M1 Grand, and I was actually just shooting that not too terribly long ago. And safety on it is right in the trigger guard, where the magazine release on this thing is. Give you guys a little better angle of this thing popping off. Hopefully I don't get any hot brass in my face bouncing off this tree right here. Let me go ahead, take aim, pull this trigger. Well, I didn't hear a clink, but that 22 long rifle also sounded a little weak, so I'm not going to fault the rifle on that one. There it is. Well, we're making shots on target. I can hear the clink every time I pull the trigger. Yeah, we're shooting our target. Am I out? I don't want to dry fire 22 long rifle. Do I have another rounding here? Nope, we are out of ammunition. Well, I hit the steel at 100 yards. Let's walk down there and see what that group looks like. I imagine it's not going to be great, because since I'm aiming at the top of the target, I can't exactly see the target itself, but I hit the steel. We had a 22 long rifle that didn't quite sound right, and I didn't hit the steel with that one, but I did hit the steel with the others. Alright, as expected, the group is not great since I was basically covering the steel, but I'm noticing some rounds are high and some rounds are low. So I'm going to go ahead and grab myself another magazine here, and I got to reload it. I only have 2 magazines. But I'm going to aim center target and see if well, this way I can actually see my target that I'm shooting at, see where the rounds are hitting on the target itself, because I see windage. I was going a lot left, a lot right. And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that's, yeah, that looks like 6 right there. So 6 confirmed on target. And it looks like we hit the ground down there, actually. So this 22 long rifle bulk pack, like I said, is not exactly match grade, but I want to see just how far we're dropping if I aim for the center target. All right, another 8 rounds of MagTech ammunition. Let's go ahead and send this down range. I am going to go ahead. I know I said I was going to aim at the center target. I'm going to aim low enough on the target to where I can actually see the target, but high enough to where I still think it's going to make hits on target. Let me go ahead, take aim here. Where's my target there? Up there she is. All right, here we go. All right. Whew. You ever stare at your front sight so hard that you start getting dizzy and things start going black? That was fun. Let's go ahead and wander down there and see what that looks like now. Okay, I probably should have spray painted the target before I actually shot, but it looks like our group did get quite a deal tighter. It's almost like being able to see your target helps with accuracy. So I know that these three on top, those were already there. I don't think that the ones in the center right there were actually there though, so that definitely worked out. I'm not sure if we got all 8 rounds right there. I'm sure a lot of them went a little bit low. This 22 long rifle definitely seems to be inconsistent. If you're going to make long range shots with 22 long rifle, make sure that you got yourself decent ammo and not necessarily the bulk pack. But this is good enough for clinking the steel at 100 yards. I'm still making my shots on target. Okay, whew, Nelly, I need to hydrate. What we're going to do now, we're actually going to wander over to the house, and I will show you guys what makes this rifle actually really cool. I know that I can make hits on, you know, something at 100 yards. If this was a, you know, a 2-legged predator sized target, if you get what I'm saying, then they'd have a bunch of holes in them at 100 yards. So definitely a good option. Tell you what, it's definitely a hot one out today. So, whenever the engineers at Henry were working on this survival rifle, they were really asking themselves the big questions. Why is it that no matter how many lasagnas you stack on top of one another, you always end up with just one lasagna? But more importantly, why do people love the 22 long rifle for survival? A lot of that has to do with the fact that they're not necessarily all that powerful and all that capable, especially out at long distances. But boy, can you use them for pretty much most of the situations that you're going to come across. I wouldn't recommend taking on a grizzly bear with a 22 long rifle. It is possible. I've heard stories where it has been done, but I would not recommend it. 22 long rifle also tends to be a little unreliable, so I wouldn't recommend using it as a self-defense cartridge either. But despite the fact that 22 long rifle has a bunch of pros, it also has a lot, well, has a bunch of cons, it also has a lot of pros. For one, you can get yourself a lot of ammo for not a lot of money. 22 long rifle is definitely more expensive than it used to be, that is for damn sure. However, you could still get like bulk packs of 500 plus rounds for like 40 bucks. And you can't find anything else out there that will give you that many chances to shoot your rifle or your pistol or whatever it is that you're shooting that's chambered in 22 long rifle. You're not going to get that many chances to shoot with that amount of money. So this is actually a really cool design right here. Well, and I want to say the ammunition is incredibly lightweight. People always point that out to me in the comments. It's very lightweight. You can carry like 2,000 rounds on you, and it's not going to break the bank. Whereas if you carry 2,000 rounds of like 223, 5.56, 7.62 by 39, 308, oh god, you're not gonna be moving very far or for very long. So the gimmick behind this rifle is that it can break down and be stored to be very, very compact. And you can basically stick it inside of a backpack or under your seat of your car, or you can, like, just because of the extremely compact nature of this thing, you can store it to, well, you can basically store it anywhere. So little, what would you call this, little turn latch right here on the bottom of the pistol grip. All you do is just kind of unscrew this, and the receiver separates from the stock. Receiver slides right out, just like that. We have ourselves a little barrel nut right here. Let's see, that goes this way. It is a facing the receiver, a right-hand thread. Comes right off, just unscrew it. Barrel pops off. There's a little, what would you call this, little peg back on the chamber, the top of the barrel, whatever it is that people would want to call this. No matter what it is that I call anything, people always yell at me. It actually fits into this cutout slot here in the receiver, just like that, and then you can go ahead and screw your barrel on. This way you just make sure that everything is properly lined up every single time that you use it. So yeah, the gun breaks down very simply, just like this, and it actually stores, like I said, in the back of the stock. Right here, the butt plate of the stock just pops right off, just like that. And now we have this massive storage area on the inside of the stock here, where you can grab your magazines, and they slide in just like this. Little magazine storage area for 2 magazines. I can actually store a third one, if I had a third one, in the receiver itself, and then store the receiver itself in the back of the stock right here, and then the barrel here just slides right here into the stock. And just like that, you have everything that you need to have a 22 long rifle semi-automatic in one very compact little package, and you even have the stock to go with it. This right here is actually a pretty ingenious design, and it's incredibly lightweight. Like, I could throw this inside of a backpack and not even notice that it's there. This with a brick of like 525 22 long rifles, that is, ooh man, that is a good little package right there. Very ingenious design. And then let's say you're out at your campsite, or maybe it's, I don't know, the end of the world, the apocalypse, maybe the bombs have dropped and you're in some, you know, wilderness survival situation. All you do is you break out your 2 little magazines right here, and break out the rest of your stuff, barrel nut with that thing, and close this up. I do want to point out, I saw this the other day and I thought that it was really cool. Henry, their sights on the back of their receiver right here, they actually have a little screw here that you can unscrew and flip around your aperture sight, ghost ring sight. I'm not sure what this would constitute as, whether or not you want a large open sight picture or a much more fine, much more precise, much smaller whole sight picture for more long range shots. If you're going to be doing more long range shots, like I said earlier, I definitely recommend that you get yourself a, you know, ammunition that is better than just the cheap bulk pack ammunition. So all you do, take this, pop the receiver into the stock just like this, and screw it on. After the receiver's been screwed on nice and firmly, yep, that's not going anywhere, grab your barrel, pop it onto the top of the receiver right here, and just screw this bad boy on here. Barrel nut nice and firm, because it does have that little peg that goes into the receiver. Your front sight's going to be in the same place every single time. Then you grab yourself whatever magazine it is that you have. In this case, I do plan on getting a 3rd one so I can carry a 3rd one with this rifle. And there you go, you got yourself a little semi-automatic 22 long rifle. And you can go ahead and go do whatever it is that you're going to do with it. So honestly, it doesn't even have to be a survival rifle. This right here would just make a really cool little camping rifle if you decide to go out and do some plinking. Now, just because the 22 long rifle is not necessarily the most capable cartridge, I do want to point out that whenever you're rocking a semi-automatic like this, like, yeah, 22 long rifle with proper shot placement can absolutely be used to take game. But if you hit something with 22 long rifle, even if you hit it in the vitals, there's not always a guarantee that it's going to go down. Just some things are built tougher than others. Muscle density, bone density. I mean, hell, it could boil down to the amount of calcium that's in the water that whatever it is that you're shooting at drinks. You know, I mean, if you're going to take medium game with a 22 long rifle, can be done, but there's no guarantee with it. But if you have yourself a semi-automatic and your target is 15, 20 yards away, then hey, you go ahead and just just bang, 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 bang. And you get 3 or 4 shots of 22 long rifle on target, especially if you're hitting the vitals, and that's a lot, and that's a pretty good chance that that little bastard is going to go down, especially if it's, you know, smaller end of the medium game. Like if you're going after small deer or freaking coyotes, or hell, we got wild pigs here in Florida. I wouldn't recommend going after boar because they get like 350 plus pounds, and if you're going after them and your 22 long rifle isn't cutting it, they get angry very easily. So bear that in mind. I wouldn't use this for defense, but if you're going after something that would run away, then, you know, just pop a handful of rounds and get really, really quickly, and odds are it will go down. Now, I actually have in my backpack a 22 long rifle handgun, and I mean, that would work for what it is that, you know, I was intending it to be used for in the event that I have to survive in some situation, or in the event that I feel like hunting some small game or something like that. I could absolutely use my 22 long rifle handgun. But this thing has a long barrel on it. And if you are in some sort of survival situation, you want as much out of your resources as possible. So if you have a 22 long rifle handgun, let's say because of the short barrel, the 22 long rifle, just, you know, spitballing here, goes at 1,000 feet per second, right? But out of a long barrel like this, it goes more like 1,300 feet per second. And the likelihood of you doing
damage is much higher whenever you have yourself the projectile moving much faster. 300 feet per second is quite a deal faster than 1,000 feet per second. There's quite a deal. Actually, that would make a really cool video. You would do quite a bit more damage with the same amount of resources, the same amount of shots. If you have 525 rounds of 22 long rifle, and you put those out of a handgun, it might take you, you know, another 2 or 3 shots to take down whatever game it is that you want to take down. But because of the extra velocity out of this long barrel, you might only use 1 or 2 shots. Get what I'm saying here? You get more power out of the same ammunition with a long barrel than you do with a short barrel. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to go ahead and get myself a longer barrel 22 long rifle. Not only that, but the handgun, it is accurate, but this thing you saw was making consistent hits on steel with bulk ammunition at 100 yards. There's no way I'm doing that with my 22 long rifle handgun. I'm sure there's 22 long rifle handguns out there that you could, you know, smack a quarter at, you know, with bulk ammunition at 100 yards, but that's, I don't have the skills for that. And having something with a stock on it, some kind of carbine style system with a stock on it, is definitely the better option. Anyway, folks, thanks for watching. I do appreciate your time. What time is it? Speaking of time, oh god. Okay, well, thanks for watching, folks. Description down below has a link to all sorts of stuff. If you like this stuff, like the videos, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more, because I do this kind of stuff all the time. I have a Utreon now. Go ahead and go check that out. I actually have some really cool plans coming up for the Utreon. So yeah, like I said, go ahead and go check that out. You don't have to give me any money on Utreon, but you can subscribe to Utreon for, I don't know, some small amount of money, and that definitely helps out the channel. So if you feel like doing that, I definitely appreciate the support. That being said, you guys go off, have yourself a fantastic day.
Been a little while since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. Poor man's Garen. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.